Well, hey there. Yeah, I just wanted to record this video for. I guess you'll really know who you are, more than any one individual person. I'd say it's more a collection of people. I don't really know who they are necessarily, but I get the feeling this video will find them. Probably a lot easier and more difficultly than one would expect. But I think that's the whole point with the universe, is that it's meant to kind of be the eternal kiss of continuing on, of choosing to do your best and choosing to move forward when it is that you. I want to say when you are able to, but you're always able to, I suppose. But when you choose to, there's always technically the option there to do it. But I suppose it's for me, I'm seeing that it's the remembering that it is perfect and choosing to see it in a positive perfection, glass half full, even though sometimes the glass isn't so nice to drink, it's still perfect. And I think that's the lesson, and it's like perfection then comes down to the question of what's perfect. I'm a big advocate for perfectly imperfect, so to speak. The idea that as things are, they might be imperfect, but that imperfection is also perfect. But if we're looking at something that's imperfect, that is too perfect, that's pretty divine, like when you add a little bit too much salt, but it's just the right amount of salt. And I was listening to something today, and it was really stressing how, if you're born into something perfect, you're not going to learn how to deal with whatever you need to deal with. Like, if you're born into a perfectly loving family, you're going to learn how to love beautifully, but it's not going to be technically the most difficult love, because it's perfect in a way. But to then find the perfectness in something imperfect is also an art. It allows us to in turn recognize that the way we see the world is then also how we create the world through our lens of perception. And I think one of the easiest ways to almost go and see this is to read. For me anyway, I think that's, I'm finding that when I read, I have different thoughts and perspectives, and it's slow in a way. Not even the reading slow, but all at once I will suddenly start relating information more differently. And it's not just reading, I suppose. Reading or note-taking or anything like that are actually just very gross ways of the underlying skills, which are reading and writing, yes, but tools of using our consciousness, of ways that we interact in the world, in a way, or engage, I think is a better way to say it. We engage our thought mechanisms and emotive bodies. I say emotive because of the emotional element, and the easiest way to get that electricity moving is through emotion, energy and motion, how we feel about things. I get the feeling someone will at some point watch this video and be like, "Yeses, can you just speak in plain English?" It might even be me when I watch it later, and I guess I can, but I can, but it's usually easier after it's decoded, which is to say, it comes through, I say it, or it comes through like this, and then I unpack it into this, so I can then put it back into that. But I guess more like that, so that both the streams that are entering in can then be put relative to one another in a way that they're both able to connect and then deconnect, but then find the right perspective. Sure. Yeah. But so that's kind of the thing, is if we are just, someone told me once that it's basically a seizure that keeps our brain, our brain constantly has a seizure, which is to say it reduces all the information that we receive from the pure wowness of life and reduces that down to an experience that we call life. like every second or so. And like I say seizure, but it's controlled seizure. You know, it's what it's meant to do. Sorry, I'm just covering my camera. Not this one, of course. My like super nice studio camera, so that we can instead do phone quality. No, like just my laptop camera, guys. I'm playing with a piece of plastic, something like tactile information. Then, you know, keep the general neuronal synapses connected, so that there's a easier way for a full flow of information to connect or to occur, because it comes through the synesthetic connection. I say synesthetic, I mean like it's kind of just the same way or like physical information comes in, that you can go ahead and use it. I mean, they technically call it stimming, you know. Technically, I mean, basically just stimulating your body in some way that the information you're experiencing is able to run on. Which brings me to an interesting point where it's like, has anyone, well, I mean, I'm sure someone has. I've had a conversation with people speaking about it in some terms or another. But anyway, it seems like things on the spectrum, like what is the spectrum, I guess? I guess the spectrum's a frequency spectrum. But, I mean, that's not the point. The point is that it seems like, for me, like certain sensitivities are like frequency networks. That's always what connects with me, where it's like, imagine a shared drive on a LAN network, or a network drive. My brain goes to LAN because that's where I first encountered those things. But anyway, there's a network drive that you can access that has folders and files, you know, and this is where it kind of breaks the metaphor, because it's like, for me, it's like this geometric experience and seeming like perfection. But I suppose that's also what the architecture of something is, you know. And that's where it's the sensitivities that we live life through allow us and afford us the opportunity to experience the perfectness of life when it is that we choose to see it that way, because it means that we're approaching the unfolding of our experience in and for time, well, through time, as perfect. So, like, you know, there was just the thing that my hand would benefit from stimming with. To be honest with you, I have so many things, like Flow DNA, it's in the DNA. It's not my brand, but good brand. But it's basically that idea that there are many ways to flow, and it's also this thing of our DNA, apparently, allegedly. Welcome to fact check me on this and share some information. But I believe it's Billy Carson that was speaking about music tightening our DNA strands, or our DNA strands, different frequencies resonating with different parts of it. So the building blocks, like certain parts, I'm just looking into it because it's basically like pieces of the DNA that all build together, and certain frequencies like G or E, like the notes in the music scale, resonate with different parts, so that you can essentially, like sound healing and sound frequency and activational music like light language and all of these things are I mean, I just need to get more comfortable with it, but I would really, urge everyone to get more comfortable with it, because it's just opening your voice. Definitely going to take my own, like, get more comfy with voice. But essentially that in each moment, the different parts of yourself that are actualizing, that are being used, the spheres of yourself, like, for example, your thyroid, or your throat chakra, or however you want to. I'm not saying that your thyroid is your throat chakra, but it's connected to those parts in your body. Chakras being the bands on the front and back of your body that then connect through the nerve endings to all the different organs, and, well, not organs, but like, you know, biological systems that we use. And them just being the energetic, like, hub, basically, of that point. And when these are all running efficiently, they're able to, I mean, run efficiently, pretty much that's it, you know, it's in the name. But back to the point on hand, the DNA, when it gets activated, and we intuitively allow it through the remembrance of the perfection of life through God living through us, or a source or creator, divine unfolding. I quite like that one personally, actually, divine unfolding, because it's like you're on a page. So, you know, it's like, you ever read a story and it's like, how on earth is this going to do? And I'm not talking about like some shitty half-rate story, but like a really good one that's got you gripped. You're like, oh my god, what's going to happen? I'm not going to sleep. I just need to know what's happening in this story. And, you know, it's just this perfect unfolding of exactly what you need. And it's like connecting to different parts of your own history. And you're like, what the hell? This book is a trip. Yeah, I think like that's kind of the way to address your life, and to start moving with it. Because, you know, if you think you're screwed, if you think you're not screwed, either way you're accurate, due to the fact that your mind's going to go ahead and then conjure a story and help you isolate the information to confirm whatever bias it is that you're sitting with. So perfection for me is just one that's helpful, because why is perfection helpful? I enjoy always having the parts and pieces that I need to create, and realizing through the process of creation and unfolding that there is so much more that I can create than I had realized before, and that creation is truly spectacular, and beyond what I envisioned myself initially being able to create. Because that means if I'm, you know, visualizing and envisioning like the very best thing, and then I'm still open to being, what's the word, like blown away, like that co-creation potential is truly magnificent then, and a gift, you know, like, fuck yeah, I'll take that. And I just know for myself, because I mean, now look, I've covering my bases in a way, or not even covering my base. I don't really feel I need to cover a base. I feel like the people that will resonate with this will really just fly with it. That's kind of the whole point, I feel, of creation, is you find the ones that resonate and, you know, healthily resonate more. In the way that you actually choose to connect that piece of experience for both sides. Piece of experience being that, you know, whatever seeds put down is able to be, you know, grown in the fertile garden of self through the incubation of love. You know, love being that network where everything connects and is able to connect, you know. And it doesn't need to resonate with everyone. I feel like that's the whole thing with it, is that the lack of resonance with every person. I mean, there's an opportunity to see and to recognize that people can, but I mean, to some people, you know, that's okay. I believe that not being for everyone makes you more appreciative of being for yourself and just being. And ultimately, it's always, you know, you're being for yourself, you know, for you and for the other yous that get to experience you, because that's almost the game we play. And learning to have fun with it and be joyful through it. And like, this was the other one, you know, it's a hello, you know, it's hello to the new information and the new language I'm learning. And learning to sit with that here. Because, I mean, I for a long time, I would sit with information very much here. Like, you know, inspirational in a way, because I could say some incredible things, but I never really felt the support of them myself. And it led to a very monodimensional, linear experience with it. Because I had these words and these ways of speaking and these, like, whoa, bro, understandings, but I often lacked the full heart song in a way. And now I truly endeavor, and it is my intention to really uncover that heart song. And I guess in a way, the ways to almost find heart songs, or not heart songs, like recognize the presence of them in all ways, and how to co-create in a way that allows others to join the co-creation synchronistically and destinedly. I feel like it's like creating an aura, so to speak, where others realize just how capable they are through the pieces that they already have present. And this becomes perfectly, just so happening, back to the idea of perfection. You know, where you are is where you're meant to be. The setup of everything around you is exactly as it's meant to be. Doesn't mean that you like the way it's meant to be, but in that not liking it, you know, there's a reason you're not liking it. There's an opportunity for you to put the fear aside, a false experience appearing real, and instead look to say, okay, cool, sweet, my desk is a bit of a mess. I'm using myself as an example, and I did try to clean it like 3 days ago. But, cool, could beat myself up. Won't really help, because it's also like, I mean, it's organized chaos. It comes from the space I'm exactly in right now. I'm not having all the space to pack everything away. So kind of, you know, like, you ever play that car game? You know the parking one where it's like on the platform thing. I mean, awesome, sick. Fuck yeah. It's on the platform, and you know you got all the cars around, and then you got to like zoop, 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 and then eventually you get the car through. I mean, I could have gone like a few more, but you get the idea. You got the car parked, and you need to maneuver very little space to be able to get the car out. Oh, that game was so much fun. I'm sure there's an app, but it was really fun, like in physical, you know. But yeah, so it kind of feels a bit like that at the moment, which is fine. Like, you know, it really helps one be very grateful with what they do have either way. But within that, you know, it's I recognize in myself this tendency to get almost frustrated with myself. Not almost, to get frustrated with myself, and derogatory and things like this, and almost forget the fact that what's actually going on is that learning to sit and deal with those feelings and those emotions that are arising, and the thing like, oh my god, there's this whole stack of things and I don't really know what to do with them because it's old papers and drawings I'm holding on to and all of these things, that it's like, it's actually asking me to sit and look at it and be like, okay, what do I need here? Like, what is it that I'm really going to need here? Okay, what of these are going to be worked on in the next week, year, 6 months, you know, and systematizes. Because the perfection isn't saying that it's going to necessarily be the way I like it, but it is going to push me through the perfection on its side. The truth, the full cycle of life, is going to push me beyond my cycle of life and death. Because for me, it's this, you know, and it's actually, I mean, breathing's a great option, but it's, you know, there's a very different approach to that, where I'm seeing it as, okay, what's this opportunity? How is it going to engage me? How is it going to engage my mental model? How am I going to, you know, best look to rework it? Because, of course, I'm going to need to rework it at some times. I'm not, you know, 100% perfect in, or the perfect form I would like to be, shall we say. But keeping my mind fixed on that perfectness in all ways, in all things, you know. And this is where it's, because sometimes, personally, I've been finding it super much easier, yeah, girl, super good English. Anyway, it's really easy just to be like, cool, I'm gonna cut it. And I guess a lot of things can be cut for great benefit. But it's also then finding like the whys behind it, and kind of just being like, okay, what's the relationship? How can I improve it? How can I, like, I'll give you an example. So, I grew up and I really loved gaming, really enjoyed it. Something between ADHD and neurodivergency. Getting to game with friends was also a big part of it, honestly. And just the opportunity to, what's the word, like, have something to do, I guess. And then, you know, through that, I spent a lot of time on it, which was cool. But then I also got super over it, like super freaking over it. It wasn't enjoyable at all. And I stopped gaming for like a very long time. And then I started gaming again, and then I stopped gaming, and then I recently picked it up again, like had a hankering, like literally one of those ones where it's like, what the fuck's happening in the stars? Because like there must be something going on somewhere in there, you know, just in that sort of energy shift. as a result of some other sphere of consciousness coming forward, and then through that, me having that part of myself brought forth. But now that's the thing, is it's like, okay, cool, I would like to rework everything to have a healthy expression, if it's possible. If not, sure, happily put it down, never touch type thing. But where possible, I would like to rework things and basically pick up the lost pieces. And that's where it's like, looking at the perfectness of things, because it's almost like if it's a distraction, and if I see it as, and I have seen it as a distraction, so that's how my mind is speaking about it. And look, I will continue to address it and work through it and, kind of just be aware, but to play and to have joy and to, because for me, gaming is all as well, it can be a bit of a social element. It gets me out of a routine of just, which is also great, love routine, super useful for me. But if I'm not, present or wanting to live or create in that routine, shit, it gets a bit much. And it also just becomes like a checklist of bullshit, where the tools can be great, the opportunities can be present, but I'm not really wanting to avail myself to them. And for me at the moment, the part of realizing the perfectness is like, I should wake up the second I reach back into consciousness from wherever I've been traveling at night during my sleep, and should be bursting out of bed. Like, I know that's what should be the case, like 100%, like, holy shit, I'm alive. Not being too loud, because, people are around me, and it's dark here, and, just respect, But I'm not always finding that to be the case. I mean, more often than not, I'm not finding this to be, like, I'm grateful, like, I'm happy, but, like, the full joy of existence that really courses through me, life force, isn't always actualized. And, I mean, I am, now, I have been, but, like, when you've been working on lots of different things to kind of get yourself ready to, like, focus more directly on the actual thing. I mean, but again, that's where it's like, it's all one. So it's always focusing on the actual thing, but going more directly to it. But it's also like building up the strength and capability to go more directly to it. So, and that's also where it's like, you can't rush that in a way. Like, you can be consistent with, you can make sure that you push yourself outside your comfort zone, which I think is in a way rushing towards it. But trying to get it all done in one day isn't really healthy, and it's also it's a work for a lifetime. So basically, to recap, if this video is for you, you will know without a doubt. You can say that it means that you have shifted dimensions, which it has, honestly, 100% has. It also means that you have stepped closer towards your dreams and recognizing that the broken view that you've held towards and of yourself is in fact what has laid the foundation for you to be able to really not just get there for yourself, but get there for all the people that are in your corner. I'm hearing like fighting the fight with you, basically, which is great. Fuck yeah, super sick. But with that being said, the perfectness, I discovered a way for me that was perfect in a way. Like, I found a form of movement and like object manipulation, like a toy, kind of like this one, but 3 balls instead of 4. Yeah, anyway, but like a lot more will come on that. And for me, that just felt like, whoa, sharp, perfect, amazing. But it was one perspective of it, in a way, and I pushed that perspective so much, thinking that was it, and it was, in a way, but it was also missing out on all these other like ports into it. It was just one perspective of a full experience, in a way, and I love it. I really do, but I found that going on a journey to add more texture and color and vibrancy, really, like real life, has brought me a lot of joy and appreciation. And I would recommend everyone to do that as soon as possible. This can be singing, toning, flipping handstands, cartwheels, whatever rocks your boat. I mean, I want to learn how to do flip flaps or flick flacks. I don't know. For me, they're flip flaps. But anyway, so that's something I want to do. So there's obviously like things I need to do towards doing it. And like for that, even there's the idea of needing to work on the underlying resistance I have towards my belief of being able to do it. Like, a whole variety of things. But the first step is realizing that there's that resistance or current limiting belief, and recognizing, okay, cool, we'll put in the work to shift it. And, we'll start by creating awareness spheres so that we kind of pinpoint the different points of self, like holistically. So we got physical health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, diet, and like that can be within physical health, that can just be within what's going in my body. What's my calorie intake? How aware of my calorie intake am I? Because I can know that I'm like hungry or not hungry at the end of the day, but am I eating enough? Should I eat more? Should I eat less? Should I, do things like this? So I can try systems that work for me and be aware of them, like fully aware of them. And that's again where it comes down to reading and writing, which I'll do another video on, because that's just really fucking good shit, honestly. But anyway, the idea of how I use my eyes, how aware am I when I look through them? What is it that I'm focusing on? How am I focusing on it? And what energy is that bringing into my life then as a result? They say the eyes are the first way that you steal. And to instead learn to use my eyes in a way that learns. I was really, really blessed to be able to go skiing, snow skiing. I live in South Africa. We don't really have snow to ski. Ski to snow, if I could, I would. But anyway, I got to go snow skiing. I love snow skiing. It's like one of my favorite things in the world, to be honest with you. Anyway, I hadn't done it for years and years and years, and was just like, shit, will I be able to do this? Like, I know I will, obviously. Like, oh my god. But I was really like, shit, I don't know how I'm going to end up doing this. So my eyes were completely turned on, and it was like full awareness and like, cool, I'll feel my things out. I'll look at how people are doing it. Like, shit, like how far apart are their skis? Like, what is everyone doing? Like, trying to ask people with my family, but they've also like just done it their whole life. So it's kind of like, you'll feel it. And I'm like, cool, like I will feel it. I know that. I did feel it. Flipping great. But then I found that by completely being aware with my eyes and absorbing as much information with the intention of learning, also new space, new area, like everything's fresh. It's been an amazing experience, and I understand why people love traveling so much. It's the tits. It really is. But anyway, I was then reading every moment and experience and constantly open to new information, and like, really pushing myself to do it, and then writing it internally and being like, okay, cool, what does that mean up to me? Reading what it is that I have written, what it is that I can rewrite, how I can practice it, that whole situation. And that's kind of the thing, and that's where perfection is. Perfection is here, right now. Yep, right now, right here. That's it. And it's learning to begin seeing and feeling through your heart. I say through because it's, if I'm here, it's very like, it's like stuck, but like your heart brings it down, and you can literally go just like this. You can sound, you can not like, but like just feel that energy shift. And then once it's there, you kind of want to like get it to just start sitting, and then to calmly exist there. And when it exists there, it starts to gravitate in and around that center. Like you can imagine it starting to spin and get like stabilized. And then it starts mastering itself there. I say mastering because it's like any feeling, it's going to take a bit of time to get used to. And once you start getting used to a feeling, it's difficult to shift back. Not impossible, far from impossible. And it comes with setting your intention. Your first intention is to set it here, because once it's here, everything else will start sorting itself out. We oftentimes want to jump here because it's comfortable, we're protected, but you want to be here. And then to fill in from there, you want to be both downward connected and upwards connected, and kind of like really like make it like a nice soup, cook it with love. So yeah, you've got this. More in reading and writing coming soon. In the meantime, make sure that what you're reading from life is is kind of relevant to your now. You don't need to jump all the way to the end. I know, it's almost easier to stay so focused on the end that you forget the now. But the now is where you live. It's your presence, it's your present, and learning to engage with that now, little by little, and to, like, I don't know, I'm sure some of you guys probably watch Lilo and Stitch, but like, Stitch goes ahead and draws in this like draws himself, and I think Lilo does this. Anyway, they draw Stitch, they color in how like evil he is at that time, and then put him through like a routine of de-evilification, like exposing him to the king, Elvis Presley, things like that. Really great thing. But anyway, and it's kind of like that, you want to look at the spheres in your life, see what's healthy, see what's not healthy, and see what you can inject into your life. Focus more on, change your perspective around something, because nothing is good or bad. Like there are some really heinous things and less than ideal situations, without a doubt. But it's our responsibility beyond that to go ahead and really then reclaim the opportunity to love for ourselves and for others, and to recognize the perfection of what is happening all around us, and liberate our energy in a way that we create the utopia we wish to be a part of now. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now, right here, right where you are. We exist, we're connected, we get to co-create, and we get to really push the boundaries on that a lot. I love you. Look forward to chatting more. And it's going to get even more incredible than we can really imagine at this point. And that's amazing, honestly. Thank you for you.